Good morning, New Life Church. We hope that you are having a great morning already. We are excited about us being able to gather together back in this auditorium this coming Sunday. And we feel like that these are some very important items that we'll discuss today. They will be sent out via email, and you can pick up copies here at the church that will be a little bit more detailed. But I think this morning, we will give you enough information so that you will feel comfortable in joining us in our worship time over these next several weeks and months. And so we are planning on reopening our indoor services in 4 phases. So what we want to do this morning is we want to walk through each one of these phases. So phase 1. Each phase, just like phase 1, will last 2 to 4 weeks. That will be determined by the discretion of our leadership here at our church, and also some of these things depend on what the state of North Carolina does. And so we're still trying to the best of our ability, stay in compliance with all of the things that we are being asked to do by our state, but each phase will last 2 to 4 weeks. New Life Church will operate as a safe, sanitized, and socially distanced environment. You know how I like to alliterate things, but that's just how it came out. We want to make sure that when you come here, you feel safe. It will be a sanitized environment. Between each service, we will go through a deep sanitation process. As I said, some of the documents you will be able to read for yourself. It'll be on our website. You'll be getting an email, or you can pick up copies. It will go through each item that we will do and each thing we will do in this sanitation process. But just to give you some ideas, in between each services, we will wipe down the light switches, wipe down the door handles, the restrooms will be clean, any high contact areas will be spraying down the pews, wiping the pews, things of that nature. Any area where people are, that area will be sanitized. So this will be safe to come to, it'll be a sanitized area, and we will observe social distancing. Thus, there will be no physical contact. There's a no physical contact policy. Now, I know a church like ours that loves to shake hands and to hug, and we're just a big old happy family. For right now, this is how it has to be. Our leadership wants to set the example, and so there will be a no physical contact policy. There's no handshakes, no hugs, not even high fives. So for right now, this is just how it has to be to keep everybody safe and to make sure everyone feels comfortable in joining us for our worship time. Sunday morning services. Let me give you some details about Sunday morning services, because right now in phase 1, those will still be the only services that we will have on campus. There will be 3 identical services, one at 9 a.m., one at 11 a.m., and then one at 1 p.m. And so you can choose. We want you to encourage you to reserve your spot. You can reserve your spot by going on our website and choosing your service of preference. Now, if you're one of those families and it really does not matter to you which service you come to, I would simply encourage you to wait maybe a day or 2 before you sign up. And the reason I would say that is because I know the 11 o'clock service is probably the service that will go the fastest. We will have a limit of 150 people that we're going to allow to sign up for each service. And so if you're one of those selfless folks that, you know what, I'm going to allow certain folks to be able to come to 11 o'clock because that may be the only service they can come to, wait a few days before you get signed up. Deference will be given to our older congregants, and so we will give deference to them. The link or the portal that you will sign up will launch today at noon. So Tuesday, May the 19th at noon, that will launch. And as soon as a service reaches 150 people, that link will be removed, and it'll be established as that service is full. So make sure that you get signed up. During our services, there will be no fellowship portion of our services. During our services in phase 1, there will be no children's church, no nursery services. So for right now, all of our kids will be meeting with us in our services. And then also during phase 1, 2, and 3, there will be no choir ministry simply because of the observance of social distancing. Now, also you can expect when you come on campus, there will be doors that are designated as entrance doors, and there are doors that are designated separate doors for exit doors. We're doing that just to make sure that we keep the crowd control to a minimum in certain areas. We want people to know where they need to come in and where they need to go out, and it'll keep people from having to clutter in our foyer or in our entryways. There will be several offering deposit locations, very similar to what we did on Sunday, and thank you so much again for your faithful giving during these days. But there will be outside in our foyer, there will be several offering deposit locations that we will have there for you to be able to give still. We will not be passing offering plates. We'll have ushers there. If you have any questions, we'll have those areas staffed. The fellowship hall, for some of you that have small children that you think, well, I just don't think my kids will be able to sit through a service. Maybe they can sit through the singing, but Pastor Scott, when you get up and preach, that's when they try to make the most noise. Wherever you are on that, we still want to invite you to come. So our fellowship hall is going to be set up with a live feed of the service that's going on. We'll have 2 large televisions set up in there. You'll be able to see it clearly. You'll be able to hear it clearly. And there'll be a live feed of our services, and that'll serve as an overflow seating for areas for families with small children if they begin to disturb the worship service. And so if you do bring your kids, and we want to encourage you to do that, we just want you to also be very respectful of not just the people around you, but the service itself that's going on. And we have a room set up, the fellowship hall. It'll be a big space, a comfortable space, chairs that'll be set up socially distanced apart from each other that you can still enjoy the service. During phase 1, other ministry details, Wednesday evening Bible study and Sunday school will remain online. They'll remain online through Facebook and through YouTube as we have been doing over these last several months. And again, I want to applaud all of our staff and all of our volunteers for making such an incredible worship experience possible. They've done a great job, and they will continue to do a great job. Sunday evening life groups will be able to meet, but they will meet under the following conditions in phase 1. Life groups that are less than 10 people may meet in homes. That is still in compliance to everything that is being said about gatherings, and so you can meet in homes just like we were doing before COVID-19 if your life group is less than 10 people or right at 10 people. If your life group has more than 10 people, we want to encourage you to meet. You can meet outside anywhere. You can go to someone's house and meet outside. You can go to the park and meet. You can come here to the church and meet outside. You also can meet inside the church. You can use our library. You could use our gymnasium, or you can even use our 10 church if your life group has more than 10 people. But if you're going to meet on campus, you have to make sure that you get signed up through our church office. So you will need to call Miss Regina or Miss Kim, and throughout the week, the leader of your life group will need to call to reserve that spot. We don't want 2 different groups planning to meet at the same spot. We just need to make sure that the left hand knows what the right hand is doing. And also, if you meet on campus, it will be your responsibility as a life group to make sure that that area that you met in was sanitized, and we will make sure you have everything that you need to sanitize that. So hopefully phase 1 in general terms, you understand the highlights. The highlights are Sunday morning services on campus, 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and 1 o'clock. We also hope that you understand that life groups have conditions on them. Wednesday night service will continue to meet online. And then, of course, there will be no kids or nursery opportunities in phase 1. So quickly, let's go to phase 2. Phase 2, 2 to 4 weeks after we launch Sunday, phase 2, there are some changes. I'm not going to go through all the things that are similar. I just wanted to let you know some things that we will be adding. Okay? So phase 2, we will be adding children's church, but we will only be adding children's church during the 9 a.m. and the 11 a.m. service. Social distancing will be maintained. Seating separation restrictions will be observed, and all activities that involve physical contact within children's church will be suspended. And so it will be a safe environment for your kids, and we are going to make sure we take the high road on even some questionable areas. We want to make sure that our kids stay safe. Children's church during the 9 o'clock and the 11 o'clock service. Now, depending on what the state of North Carolina does, there is a chance that in phase 2 we go back to 2 services. But for right now, the plan is, even in phase 2, to still have the 9 o'clock, the 11 o'clock, and the 1 o'clock. Life groups at this point at phase 2 will go back to normal, meeting at homes and meeting at church. Wednesday evening Bible study, Sunday school, those things will still remain online. So Sunday school in phase 1 will still remain online, and Wednesday night Bible study, Sunday school and Wednesday night Bible study will remain online in phase number 2. In phase 3, our plan is then to go back to 2 services. There will be a limit potentially of 250 per service, so it is possible that we still have to have you sign up for a service, but as that phase gets closer, we will give out more details. At phase 3, Wednesday evening Bible studies will begin on campus with Kids Church and with teen services as well. Nursery in phase 3 will be offered during Sunday services. We will operate on a 50% capacity. More details about nursery, because I know that is an area of high concern. More details as we get closer to that phase will be given. Ministry activities such as Bible studies and fellowships and youth activities, etc., those will return as well during phase number 3. And then phase 4, the big changes in phase 4 will simply be this. We will continue the 2 services as we've been doing for years with no numerical limits. Sunday school will return to an on-campus event at 10 o'clock as it was before COVID-19. Nursery will return to its normal capacity in phase 4 with an enhanced cleaning routine. And then there will be no pew or number restrictions. There'll be no social distancing, and choir will begin back in phase number 4. Now, when you come on Sunday, 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock, or 1 o'clock, there are certain pews that certain services will use. The pews will be marked off. It's every other pew. The pews will be marked off A and B. The 9 o'clock and the 1 o'clock services will use the A pews, and that'll be on every side and up the mezzanine. We will not be using the balcony at this time. So up the mezzanine sides, it'll be every other pew. They'll be marked A and B. And then on the bottom floor, left and right sections, they will be marked A and B as well. The 9 o'clock and the 1 o'clock. After those services, those pews that were used will be sanitized. The 11 o'clock service will use the B pews. The reason we're doing that is because that is going to help us with our social distancing. Also, the middle sections, our bottom floor, there will be a middle section on each side that will be marked off. It'll be a 6-foot section. That way that nobody that's sitting on the left side of the pew will be anywhere closer than 6 feet than those that are sitting on the right side of that particular pew. Again, all of these things to observe social distancing. We're doing everything we can to make sure, again, you come to a safe, a sanitized, and a socially distanced environment. Now, as I close, these are some things I want you to consider. I want you to consider and even maybe commit to work for one service and then to come and to worship for one service. So we have 3 services. This is going to be a load on a lot of people. And so there's a lot of opportunities that you have to serve. What are some of those opportunities, you may ask? Well, some of the opportunities of service. You could become a part of our sanitation team. You could come worship a service, and then you could spend the next 30 minutes after that particular service helping us sanitize areas, or however you wanted to become a part of that team to keep it a sanitized environment. Our security team, we will have our security team. And if you have already signed up for the team, but you want to make sure that Brother Danny knows that you're willing to help out during this time, you'll come to church for one service, and then you will work security for one service. Maybe an usher, if you want to let Brother Jimmy know, and you can sign up on our portal for these things, and we'll let all of our different leaders know that you want to help there. We'll let Brother Ken know if you want to help with our hospitality and our greeters as people come in for 3 different services. Or maybe it's the media, maybe Brother Austin, because I know he needs some additional help. And if you're willing to come and worship for a service and then work for a service, there are areas for you to do that in phase 1. And so commit to work for one service and to worship for one service. Secondly, pray during these days that there's no outbreaks. Here and all of our churches across our country, as churches come back together, there are no coronavirus outbreaks. Because if something like that happens, then we have to put our plan on pause, and we have to do what's best for our people. And so let's continue to pray God's covering on His people. And then finally, let's continue to seek the Lord's guidance in our decisions during these days. That has been our plan from the beginning. It's not to do what we want to do. We wanted to come back to church 2 months ago, but we have been trying to do what's best for God's people, and we've been trying to do it in God's timing. And we believe as a leadership, this is God's time for the church to come back together. And so with these things in place and so many others, I do believe that this reopening strategy is appropriate. It'll be helpful to you. Hopefully today will put some fear aside and will give you some comfort that it is time for us to come back together and to worship. Now, if you still feel as if you need some more time, if you are in that age bracket, the older age bracket especially, or if you have a compromised immune system, it may still be best during phase 1 to stay home, and we are okay with that. You do what is best for you physically as we continue to make decisions on what is best for the church spiritually. We love you. We pray this has been a help to you. Get signed up to worship with us on Sunday. God bless.